Jeff Hood with KW Hood Company will be hosting 2 open house events on Sunday, February 11th from 2 until 4 p.m. The first home is located at 786 Hillview Drive in Lawrenceburg and is a beautiful and spacious move-in ready house perfectly located on a 3+ acre setting. It features an inviting floor plan with an open entry, formal dining, and gorgeous living room with a gas fireplace. The second home is located at 232 Admiral Circle in Lawrenceburg. This home features a beautiful front yard and sweeping corner lot with a front walk welcoming you into this spacious and updated ranch home. This house features 3 bedrooms and 3.5 baths, a roomy master bedroom suite, and a master bath with a massive walk-in shower. Plus, someone will win dinner for 2 at Stryker's Steakhouse. For more information, visit hoodcompanyhome.com. Hey folks, good morning to you. Ben Luna here on this finally Friday morning as we get 43 TV Today underway, and I am very, very honored to welcome longtime friend of mine, wonderful guest to 43 TV, the Studio B here, Mr. James Wallace, who is the president of the board for the West Gaines Community School Project, and we are celebrating, of course, Black History Month in February, and you all have a wonderful gem of the community that you're working at restoring and making into, and I love, before we went into the interview, James said the intended purpose for the West Gaines Project is to return that property of what it was when it was built, and that is a place of education.
A place of education. I mean, that's what it was built for. And during that time, something folks must understand. At that time, there wasn't so much opposition to young black children getting educated. And we had schools, black schools here in the county. West Point had a school, Iron City had a school. But the crowding, and so there was by the Board of Education, there was a consolidation, if you will, of the schools. And that was how West Gaines was proposed. And once West Gaines was proposed, at that time, the Roswell group, you know, which was building schools throughout the South, had Lawrence County had applied and received that funding from the Roswell group, and then there was opposition to not so much the school, but the location of the school. And that had to go our way to our state Supreme Court to get settled. And if nothing else, that's just truly a piece of history in itself, is that the education, and I want you to think about young black kids back in that time. If you were a young black kid and you were going to high school, or going to elementary school, and you lived in West Point, you lived in Iron City, Knob Creek, in those areas, you had to ride a bus to Lawrenceburg to get an education. Then if you were graduated high school and you lived in those areas, think about this. You rode that bus to West Gaines. You got off that bus, then you got on another bus and rode 22 miles to go to high school. Just think about that. And there were schools right here in our county, but this was during the Jim Crow era, and we couldn't go to the same schools. So,
but now these kids that you grew up with, white kids, black kids, you grew up next door to them. We played together.
Yeah, couldn't go to school together. As kids, we never understood that. We never understood it. And then in '65, the schools were integrated, and the kids went to different schools, with the majority, because of the way we were because we were in what was called 3 sections of town. We had what was called Cross the Creek, and we called Della Street, which consisted of basically West Gaines and Della Street, if you understand the layout of the city. And then the area called Reedtown, which is out off of Crossham Road and back out in that area. And we were basically in those 3 areas, and the kids that lived in the West Gaines, Della Street area, they went to West Highland School. The other kids went to Old Public School. And those were basically where we were all. I had one family that lived west of town, and their kids went to Crockett School, and the Knob Creek kids went to Crockett School because it was close. They went to the closest school.
Did the West Point, any kids down there, they would go to South Lawrence, Loretto, Leoma area?
No. Yes, as later on they did. Once those schools were developed in that area, yes, those kids went to South Lawrence and those areas. Yes, they did. And so, as a matter of fact, they went to Loretto High School as well as Lawrence County High School. And the first African American to graduate Lawrence County High School, if my memory serves me correct, was in 1969. And his name was James Chrisman. He graduated, he was the first African American to graduate Lawrence County High School. So we have a history here in Lawrence County of educating our blacks, and back in those times, the churches sometimes served as a school as well as a church. So with that being said, there were, if history serves me right, or my memory does, there were anywhere from, I think, 8 to 14 schools altogether. And West Gaines was basically I guess, where they condensed all the schools.
A hub, in a way.
Yes, together.
A long time ago, when I did another interview with you, you talked about the teacher who taught you and many other students in your time at the West Gaines School. And now keep in mind that property, if I'm not mistaken, that goes back to the 30s.
Yes, yes, sir.
When they built that campus was in the late 30s. And you're not that old though.
No,
you're not that old.
No.
But the gentleman who would come down, if I remember correctly, and you correct me if I'm wrong, did he not drive from Nashville or somewhere up north of here every day to teach?
I'm not old enough to give you an exact answer on that. I think my sister answered that question for you. I think she's old enough to where she could, but I knew we had teachers that traveled just to come and teach. And then they had some teachers that lived here that did some teaching. The Miss Maddie Carruthers, if my memory is serving me correct, was instrumental. The Carruthers family was instrumental in getting education going here. One of my teachers were Miss Vera Davis. She was one of my teachers. John Harrell was one of my teachers. Miss Majors was one of my teachers. Those are the teachers that I can talk about because of, the school. Like I said, the school was intended to be built in 1931, which didn't end up getting built until 1937 because of the opposition to basically where it was going to be built. And it had to go all the way to the State Supreme Court. And it was ruled in favor of the Board of Education that the school could be built where it was to be built.
You have this very historic site that produced people who went on to do many great things in their lives.
Yes.
And a lot of that's right here. And I know, and I would like for you to kind of go over with the hope is for that property. We talked at the top about returning that to what it was intended for originally, of being a house of education, not just a community center, but somewhere that people can go and learn, and maybe a museum part as well, about the rich culture of African Americans in Lawrence County and the role that was played through the history of the community.
Yes, our vision, if you will, is to have a museum, to have a community center, to have an education part of that community center. And that's going to take Lawrence County, because you have to have teachers and mentors that are willing to put in their time to teach kids. Kids hunger for education, but we have to find a way to reach them and let them know that we're willing to educate them. And giving them an outlet, a place where they can go and feel like they're going to make a difference in society. And that's what we must get back to, is educating our kids. A society without education will die.
You know, and I jump all on the history stuff, and I've said more than once on this program, and I'll say it again, if the other career path that I was on, I was that close to becoming a history teacher when I was in school. And because I love history, I love the rich history that our community has on being what it is. And a lot of people, I don't think, really know the ins and the outs of the true nature of just how rich the history is where we live. But one thing that has always just been one of those history gems was the trial in the 40s that was moved from Columbia, because you had the riot trial that was moved here, and the Columbia, was it 9 or 7 young men who were charged, and now I say I love history, in my mind kind of is I'm getting to that point in life where certain details start to blend together.
Yes, but I know the case that you're talking about,
Yes.
and I believe it was 9.
And yes, you are right. And so, long story short, it was moved out of Murray County, where these young men get a fair trial, and it was moved to the Lawrence County Courthouse. At the time, it was on the square, and they were, if I'm not mistaken, they were acquitted, and that was done by a Lawrence County jury. And their attorney at the time was Thurgood Marshall,
Yes.
who would become the first African American Supreme Court justice on the United States Supreme Court. And again, you have a very historical figure who is right here in the middle of that culture, and who played a very important role in just a little piece of our county's story. And I've always found that to be fascinating.
Well, that's what I'm saying. A lot of people get mixed up about history and think this, I think, are somewhat mixed up somewhat about what we're trying to do down here with West Gaines. West Gaines is Lawrence County's history. It's rich. There have been some young, great people that have came out of that school. They've left the Lawrence County area and moved on to other things, but there's been teachers, educators that came out of that school. There's coaches that came out of their school, businessmen that came out of that school. So the school has a rich history, and I don't want it to do what I hear everybody say about the courthouse, is we tore it down.
I agree.
And then we regret tearing it down.
Like you said, and that's a perfect analogy. When you look back, the courthouse site where it was on the middle of the square didn't just host that trial, it hosted many other things of great historical significance. And a lot of that stuff is, I have a lot of friends who are historians, and they've done a lot to try to preserve as much as they can, but some of those stories and some of that rich part of our nation's history and how this part of the country tied into that, I don't want that to be lost. And like, again, you hit the nail on the head by saying in 40 years, man, I wish we wouldn't have tore that down.
I wish we wouldn't have tore it down.
So you all have worked together, the committee, and you have a Save the School banquet coming up.
Yes.
And this is one option that folks have of coming out and supporting the initiative of saving the school property, restoring the school property, and eventually, and I would love to see this happen much, much sooner than much, much later, everybody gathering down there and cutting a ribbon on the restored full vision of what that property is going to be for this community.
Yes. Yes, we have a annual fundraiser on normally in February, and this year is February the 24th. I believe I'm right on the date. I'd have to.
We'll put it up on the screen, by the way.
But
so.
It's at Society, and we've had great support from the community, and a lot of people understand it's a community project. That it's us. It's us. Yeah, I want you to think about this. Think about this. We're Lawrence County, 18 miles from basically where the Ku Klux Klan was started. But Lawrence County, some kind of way, managed to keep itself out of that kind of stuff. That's a testament to the people of Lawrence County, black and white, that they managed to stay above that fray, wanted no part of it. I can remember when I was younger, the KKK came and wanted to march here or something on the square and stuff, and the citizens of Lawrence County and Lawrenceburg said, no, we don't want that mess in our town. That speaks volumes to the people of this county. The support that I hear out on the street for this project speaks volumes to the people of this county. And I think once we get the deed transfer and stuff done, we'll get to start seeing action happen, things happen. And I think once things start to happen, we'll get more people to get on board and get this done. And just think, just like when somebody's coming and going to David Crockett Park, and when they get to, I believe it's the second red light, you can basically see the top of the building.
Oh yeah, you can see it from square.
So just think about that historical site, the attraction, the people that are stopping there as well as going to the park.
I don't want, anybody who watches this today or a year or, if we're all still around and the internet still exists 10 years from now, I would certainly hope that this project is finished, again, much sooner than later. But I want people to know that the story's there. This is not the story of one race of people. This is our history.
Amen.
That in this community.
Yes. This
is our history. This is our community. And the rich nature of that has to be preserved, where you have kids who grow up and they see and they learn the stories, just like in our community did a wonderful job of Lawrenceburg, Tennessee. I talk about, my town and my community to a lot of people every week from different parts of the country now. And I'll mention Lawrenceburg and they say, oh, y'all are the birthplace of Southern gospel music. Yeah, we are, because we did a great job of doing that. And before that, it was, oh, y'all are the home place of Davy Crockett.
Right.
Okay, now, and I love those traditions. Love it. I grew up with both of those. I was on the Vaughn committee for a while. Love that work. And now let this be a rich part of our community that people say, oh, you all have this wonderful list of things, and the West Gaines Community Cultural Center, whatever you want to call it, this history of not just what happened yesterday, but shaping our future together,
Yes.
can be found at the crossroads of Highway 64 and Highway 43.
Yes.
So let's make that happen.
I would love to see it happen. And I'm a young man, but not so much a young man. But if you're 65 years old, you were probably the last person to be able to go to that school. So anybody 65 and under didn't get to go to that school. Anybody 60 probably never ever knew that was a school unless their parents told them that was a school. And it's getting to where it's not a lot of people left to be able to tell the story. James Bumpus Sr. is the oldest African American living in Lawrenceburg. And Lucille Allen is the oldest African American woman living in Lawrenceburg. I say that to say this, that it's getting to where the generations are leaving, and if the younger generations don't pick up the history and carry it on, it'll be forgotten. And we can't forget our history.
Absolutely. Support the West Gaines Project team. We're having that on the screen. You can buy tickets now. When's the cutoff for buying tickets if you know off the top of your head?
The 21st, I believe, is the last day of buying tickets.
Okay. We would love to fill society up for that. And again, work at preserving a piece of our community's history. As always, you were one of my most favorite people to sit down and talk to. And I appreciate every time I get to. So thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you so much for having me.
I'd love to have you again, and when we can talk about this thing being done one day. More 43 TV Today continues after this.
There are now more ways to save at Quickmart. Become a Quick Club member and easily earn rewards on qualifying purchases at Quickmart convenience stores using the Quick Club app, available in the Apple App Store and Google Play. To save on fuel for work, use the Fuel Rewards Pro app to earn 5 cents a gallon on work fill-ups and redeem the savings for yourself. To get started, visit fuelrewards.com/pro or download the app in the Apple App Store and Google Play.
Hey folks, good Friday morning to you, and thank you again for stopping by Local 43 TV Today. I'm Ben Luna, joined in the studio by Miss Vickie Creekmore with IAM4kids, one of Lawrence County's legacy organizations to help and make a difference.
Right, it is.
And for those who don't know, let's talk a little bit about the history of IAM4kids and what it does for the community.
Okay, IAM4kids started probably back in 1996. It was they had a place where they could meet, and it was kind of an after-school program. They got referrals from the court system, from the school, and we transitioned to one-on-one mentoring in 2006. And we just match mentors with children in the school, and they meet one day a week for lunch. The mentors, they have to have a background check, they have to go through a training, and also they fill out an application, and we check references and that type thing. And then the children are referred by the school. It could be principal, counselor, teacher, sometimes even parents request a mentor. So that's kind of how we work.
Made a big difference through the years.
It has. We've served a lot of children.
Any idea what that number is?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, it would be hundreds of kids.
And that's a big difference made in a lot of lives. IAM4kids is a nonprofit organization.
It is nonprofit.
And so that means the way that it collects funds to make the difference that we're talking about that comes from folks who watch this.
Right.
How can they go about helping to secure the future of this financially? And you mentioned mentors. What does it look like to become a mentor?
Okay, I'll answer the first question. Financially, you can go to our website, IAM4kids Mentoring.org, and there's a link there. Also has my information that you can contact me directly, and we can take care of that financially. If you would, we have several companies or even individuals that donate monthly, and sometimes it's just a one-time thing, but any funds are appreciated. But the second question about becoming a mentor, that's what we're in dire need of, because we have so many children that I don't want to really say at risk, but they have social issues, maybe have family struggles, and they just need someone to sit down and talk with them and make them feel valued. And show them there's something different, that they can achieve whatever they want to.
How can they go about signing up to enter into this candidacy process for the...
They can also go on to IAM4kids.org, IAM4kidsMentoring.org, and there's an application there. They can just fill it out and email it to me.
Anybody in particular from any walk of life that you're looking for to be a mentor?
It doesn't matter. Just somebody that loves kids and has a heart for children.
I gotta love it. You gotta love that.
Yeah.
All right, IAM4kids, again, one of the legacy groups that has worked for many, many years, decades now, to make a difference in Lawrence County children. If you have the financial resources to help out, do so, IAM4kidsMentoring.org. But everybody has time.
Right.
Everybody has
just
time.
1 hour a week. What do you do with 1 hour a week?
Think about it. 1 hour a week can change a person's life forever, and that person in turn can come back and, who knows, make the community even better than it is.
Right.
Miss Vickie, thank you for coming by.
Thank you.
Told
for
you it would be a
inviting me.
painless process doing this. Yes. So, all right, more of Local 43 TV today coming up. Thank you again for stopping by. We're back after this.
To all the Chevy Silverado owners out there, thank you for making Chevy Silverado the #1 best-selling retail full-size pickup.
From the Tennessee Valley Weather Channel, this is your weather today.
Hey folks, happy Friday to you, and thank you so much for stopping by Tennessee Valley Weather. I'm Ben Luna here in the Weather Center, wishing you a terrific day as you check out this forecast update made possible by Heritage Automotive in Lawrenceburg. All right, showers and a few thunderstorms with us now all the way through the weekend. In fact, we're going to kind of wind up being on a conveyor belt of moisture here as we look ahead into tomorrow. I'll break that down for you, plus we'll talk about how the remainder of the weekend looks and a peek into next week as well. Here's a look at satellite and radar. This backs up into yesterday. This is the overall regional loop. And again, seeing that flow of moisture and cloud coverage straight into the area. This morning, we're left with a few spotty showers and a few rumbles of thunder across the area. We'll continue to see that activity. Again, spitting and spattering around the area as we head through the midday hours, and then a few light showers into this evening before more rain and thunder showers really compounds into the area here on Saturday. You'll notice that activity starting to fire up around tomorrow morning, and then by the midday hour, well, here comes even more shower and storm activity working in really just a conveyor belt of moisture all across the area, peaking into tomorrow night and then through your Sunday morning as well. So things are going to be awfully soggy around here. And then we've got even more shower and storm activity that's going to filter on through the area Sunday night and into Monday before we finally start to dry out a little bit calm down here around the middle mark of next week. In terms of temperature, very mild outside today. Most of you well into the mid-60s for daytime highs this afternoon. Again, picking up scattered showers and storms pretty much on and off all day. That activity scattered around the region, especially as we head into the evening hours, and then more storm activity here for tomorrow. Not looking for any severe weather from this system, but again, just on again, off again, moderate, even some heavy rainfall, and that's going to add up to help out our drought situation. Here's a look at the 7-day forecast from the Tennessee Valley Weather Center, and again, shower and storm activity with us straight through Monday. Here's where we finally start to dry out into Tuesday and Wednesday of next week. Notice our temperature trend, not half bad. This is very livable, especially for February. It is still wintertime after all, but not super cold outside. The 49-degree mark is about the coldest that we'll see during the daytime here on Tuesday, and we'll drop below freezing a night or two into next week, but still not half bad. Just make sure you watch the low water areas closely as we head through the next 48 to 72 hours with the somewhat excessive rainfall that we'll pick up here over the course of the coming weekend. Thanks for stopping by Tennessee Valley Weather. We'll have more during the midday today and, of course, at 5 o'clock with Fred Gossage here on the Tennessee Valley Weather Channel. As always, thank you for checking out our local forecast. I'll leave you with a final check on the 7-day weather outlook. Make it a fantastic Friday, a great weekend, and we'll talk to you soon.